We've got the press review now here on France 24. We're going to take a look at what's grabbing headlines then. Solange Moujin is here with us for that. Solange, today is, of course, the 14th day of national strikes against Emmanuel Macron's pension reform. What are the French papers saying about the strike today?
Well, the local paper, La Marseillaise, it says that anger in the streets is, and the anger in general, is tenacious. With 2 days to go until a bill is presented to revoke the reforms, the paper interviews protesters who say that their ire is justified because of the way that the Macron government, in their view, broke down French democracy. In the left-leaning press, national press, L'Humanité concludes its series of interviews of labor union leaders. Today, it's the new head of the CGT union, Sophie Binet. She argues that it is still time to walk back these, quote, violent and economically unjustified reforms. But if we look at the conservative press, there is another take. Le Figaro says that Macron has already moved on and is showing it with speeches on national pride, as he did yesterday, they say, to commemorate the 1000th anniversary of the Mont Saint-Michel. For La Croix, both sides are, the paper says, continuing on their paths in two very different universes. This has created, the paper argues, a tedious cycle with each actor playing his own little role. For La Croix, this is bad theater.
Moving on now, Solange, the presidents of NATO's eastern countries are meeting today in Bratislava. How is the press covering that conference and the changing face of the alliance?
Well, the B9, or the Bucharest 9, is preparing for next month's summit together, where they plan to push for more weapons, according to L'Humanité. Already, military spending has increased to the tune of 2,113 billion euros. Now, for the Washington Post, it says that NATO's new strategy to defend every inch of the alliance's territory is a message to Russia. But the Post argues that the plan is still a work in progress. For right now, military experts believe that NATO could actually lose territory if Russia were to invade right now. Now, such a vast area is hard to defend, and it should not get any larger or complex. That is essentially the view of Emmanuel Macron in regard to the calls to set up a NATO outpost in Japan, an office there. The FT says that the French president is staunchly against this move, but that other nations are pushing for this first Asia-Pacific office to keep a better eye on Asian security issues, namely on China.
You have also found, Solange, a few different articles about Russia.
Yeah, Libération today has published a letter and a profile of the well-known Russian dissident Vladimir Kara-Murza, already sentenced to 25 years. His appeal will come up this Thursday. The dissident sent a letter to a member of the Council of Europe, a letter in French, thanking it for imagining a different Russia, a time post-Putin of democracy in Russia. Now, moving on to another story in regard to Russia, Reuters tells us that the former FBI agent and former Soviet spy Robert Hanssen has died in an American prison. The 79-year-old rocked the U.S. intelligence community in the early 2000s after selling its secrets to the Kremlin. And finally, another possible Russian spy, is in the headlines. The New York Times tells us the beluga whale Vladimir he was found in 2019 wearing a St. Petersburg camera. Well, he's actually been found now in busier waters and may have lost his way. Domesticated, the Times says it is possible that he likes people too much, and the foreign policy jokes in an article about a more serious article about animals and espionage that perhaps Vladimir has defected.
All right, Solange, we'll change gears and head to Ghana, where two stories there are making headlines.
Yes, last month, the Ghanaian news site Graphic Online, it said that Ghana has actually been placed on the UK's red list of places not to recruit nurses and doctors from. Well, today, the BBC is doing a follow-up on that story. It explains that Ghana's healthcare system is struggling from brain drain or medical professionals being recruited to fill vacancies in richer nations. Last year, 1,200 Ghanaian Ghanaian nurses joined the UK's nurse registry to stop the problem. The article says that a deal may be in the works to continue recruiting nurses there, but in exchange for more funds being given to Ghana to boost its healthcare workforce. Now, another story in regard to Ghana, this one is an environmental one. The Guardian tells us that Ghana imports 15 million tons of used clothing every week, making it the world's biggest importer of secondhand clothes. It's a market that 30,000 people depend on for their livelihood, but there is a dirty side to it as well, as we see in this graphic. Some 70% of the clothes that are not bought end up in illegal dumps or drains, which then flow into the main river in Accra, making it one of the dirtiest and most polluted places on the planet.
Finally, from you, Solange, you've got a bit of tech news for us.
Yes, this first story is about the kids of Greystone, Ireland. The town has decided to ban smartphones for all those under the age of 13. It's voluntary, but enough parents have bought into it that it is working, according to this article in Insider, thus lowering children's anxiety and exposure to unsuitable content. And it could be a model for Ireland's national policy in the future. Now, I guess it is safe to say that the kids of County Wicklow will not be interested in this next and final article, at least for now. Mashable tells us that Apple is making its curse option easier. If you need to drop the F-bomb now on Apple products, they will no longer be spelled as a duck. And I would say that is some ducking good news.
Yeah, I won't take it any further than that. Solange Moujon with the press review. Thank you.